Kyle Meredith and Josh Rouse is back.
Yeah.
Again, every 2 years.
Yeah, it's about every two years. Yeah.
It's nice clockwork. You're reliable. We can rely on Josh Rouse to be.
I'm antsy.
Embers of Time. It's a really great record. I can't name one bad record in your catalog.
Oh, thank you.
Can you? Can you name a bad record?
A bad record? Well, there's
let's
some
start off with the negative here.
Yeah. No, I mean there's some that my first records I can hear that some songs it was a different time. You could put out records. You're starting and people are still finding out about you, so you're putting out about everything you write. It's not a lot of filtering sometimes. Not bad. I mean, I enjoy it all because they kind of bring back good memories for me, or where I was living, or where what was going on in my life at that time.
It's kind of interesting though when you have a record, and I forget how old that one is at this point, but like your fans' attachment to it is of course really, really different. And where you can look back on that like a bad yearbook photo.
Yeah.
Personally, for them, like that's still.
Yeah.
They don't hear any of those things that you hear.
Yeah. It's different for fans, or and I'm a fan of people too. So I'm sure if I told whomever that I'm a fan of that record, they could go, oh, I really don't like that, or I'm not in that place anymore. But I talk to fans. That's one good thing about touring, is talking to the fans and them going, well, this was whatever. There was some girl there yesterday. This reminds me of being a freshman in high school, which made me feel a few years older than her. But
it's like how old are you?
I mean, it's music is neat in that way, and that people attach a certain album or some songs to a certain time period of their life.
Mm-hmm.
We all do, I suppose.
We all do it. I guess that's actually a nice lead-in too, because it's called the Embers of Time, and I see time as actually something that's weighing heavy on your mind throughout this whole record.
Well, it's a tough concept. I'm sure no one really has a very good concept of it. I see a lot of movies about it, a lot of theories about it, but we don't really. We're here right now.
Right now.
You and I are here talking.
There was a quote. You just made me remember it too. It's like, as long as you're actually living in the present, you're alive forever, because the present is forever and everything. And that's a good way to think of it, because then you don't have to deal with the concept of death.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's tough to do. I mean, I think it's a challenge to not think about the future, and wonder what's
even the
gonna
past
happen.
up there for you on stage. You're singing all of these songs, as you just mentioned in the past. It's almost like you'd have to relive that in a way every night.
Yeah. You kind of, I kind of take it as just, performing those songs. Something that I've written and recorded, and then, even immediately after recording it, a year after touring it or whatever, you're kind of ready to get rid of it. But, that people are attached to it. So, you become, at that point, you become kind of the performer. You're performing kind of. And as time goes on and I have a certain amount of songs that are people's favorite, it's kind of like going out and putting on a show and having people enjoy music, and kind of not try to think of it too much as, I'm so over this,
You become the entertainer
I wouldn't tour if I did that, yeah.
That's not a bad way.
But that's fun. That's a big, I enjoy creating the music, but I also enjoy performing in front of people, even if I've played this same song 15 million times, I mean, there are times when it's more difficult, but if I see people getting, enjoying it, then that helps everything out, so.
When you're in this album cycle, within every album cycle, and especially when you're talking to the press album cycle, there tends to be a few points that the press will pick out on that you've said.
Yes.
And we're not getting into all those. But there was one that I did find interesting for a lot of artists, MidCareer Angst. That's the 3 words, MidCareer Angst. And that's, some people, it doesn't work out, and their career's done with it, and you've been very fortunate that you've been this far. So that's kind of an interesting perspective to get from any artist, because even I guess Neil Young has gone through Dylan went through the 80s.
They both did, yeah. I mean, everyone if you do it for a long time, there's definitely I hope that there's a middle period where, for instance, I'm 43. A lot of the people that come to my shows are my age, and they have children, they've started family. It's tough for them to go to a show, or they're not keeping up with the latest stuff. Even if I have a new record out, it may take them a year to find out about it.
Yeah.
So that can be frustrating sometimes because, you're focused on something and you continue to do it, but your audience doesn't really increase, So, and I'm sure it happens to everyone. Or they're kind of like, oh, I already have a few of his records, and that reminds me that's enough.
That's done.
Yeah.
But you still got to have a career.
Yeah, exactly.
So, if what you're saying is more of a valley, you're waiting for that.
I'm in the desert.
I can't imagine that's too true, though. I mean,
no, it's but there is a time period to where it's just not, you're not cool for a good, it happens to everyone where it's just not, you're not new and you're not like Willie Nelson, you're not old and kind of, you've become cool again. But I still, despite all that, all the stuff that goes into this, I enjoy writing songs, and I do it for myself, mostly,
I'm sure you would probably have to do it.
Exactly.
Here, right?
I get grumpy if I don't write songs or record them or create something.
With that kind of ebb and flow thing, do you think about music in the big broad terms when you look at like, rock and roll came from the underground and it did meet kind of a peak in the 80s, when you cross over, when you look at Springsteen doing Born in the USA, and that would have been, a pop station would have been playing that or something, and then it comes back down and it feels like, and I'm kind of generalizing when I say rock, because you'd be rock, Buddy Holly was rock and all that. So, rock seems to have kind of gone more back into the underground versus the mainstream. Do you see that pendulum and think, do you even think that it's going to get back to that? Like,
I don't know.
Do you ever look at that stuff as the musician in the moment?
Well, I mean, I look at, I just kind of look at it. I think if it's a good song, it's going to stick around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, when I listen to, I have two small kids, and they listen to pop music of today, and I listen to it, and I enjoy, quite a bit of it. But I can see, the fashion part of it. But I thought when I was a kid, I liked, fashionable music too. When I was younger. Well, and I guess I still do, but I don't know what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is
it's okay to like pop music.
Everything. I hear music now, and like especially pop music or even rock, or if you listen to like modern radio, and it all sounds a little bit. The production is it's very aggressive. It's very it's like everything's pumped up with steroids. It's kind of like, I need your attention.
Right.
Ba, 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 ba. But if you listen to Buddy Holly or something like that, I don't know. That music doesn't feel like that to me. I mean, it's there, and it's got swing, and it doesn't, but it's not.
Of course, at the time, compared to every other thing,
it probably was
maybe
like
it
that.
was like that.
Yeah, it was like, wow, this is really aggressive. And maybe that's just.
We can't play Buddy Holly in these parts. We're not going to be able to do that.
So no, I can't really. I don't know the answer. I don't have a good answer for that question. I don't
know that any of us could have an answer for that, because
we'll see. Time tells.
Yeah. I do know that we have one band. I'm sure we have lots of band in common, but when I see you talk about R.E.M, it seems very passionately.
Yeah.
When you talk about R.E.M, which I'm a huge R.E.M fan, so I get to geek out about that when I'm reading your interviews.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
How they walked away.
They did.
They didn't have to do it anymore.
Yeah. No, they probably didn't have to do it after their fourth or fifth record.
Sure.
But they continue to make great records.
I think there's one bad R.E.M record, just one.
Yeah.
That's it. I bring that around when I ask you, if you saw any bad records, like.
I'd really, to be honest, their first 10 records really, after Monster, I thought was okay. After that, I heard some good songs. As far as whole records, I don't know. They definitely, they can write good songs.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to contest that.
No, and there's such a mystery to that band. Even, I've never crossed paths with Peter Buck, but I hear the, stories about how, they didn't really write songs together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is a conversation about R.E.M. now, isn't it?
It's fine.
But
yeah,
no,
it's
he
gonna
made
come
up the
back around.
music, and then
Yeah.
Michael Stipe would come in and put the lyrics, and they didn't really work on it together.
Right.
So even record, you know, they would do the tracks, and so it's just very. That seems very difficult to me, that it would turn out that great,
Right.
and it not be
When it
two
was so
people just
disjointed,
working
yeah,
on
right.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a big fan.
I was kind of thinking that, like, you know, something. I guess you have that luxury with your collaborators in a studio, maybe.
Yes.
But I mean, it's a solo project, you know. For
Yeah.
you, it's
different being a singer-songwriter, and you can really, you know, I'm kind of, in some ways it's great because it's freeing, because you can, like on my records, I have quite a bit of variety, you know, and that's great. Sometimes with a band, you know, they're identified with a certain sound. I guess they can change that, but it's always, you know, you hear a record and you don't hear a lot of variety on the record sometimes. Well,
And then the fans
the
get
Beatles
angry
weren't like that, but
fans get angry if they do change it too much, and then you got to deal with that. And,
yeah, a lot of things to deal with in this career.
You know, you've been quoted saying you think you write about 15 to 20 songs a year at this point. Do you find that it's all similar sounding when you're writing in groups like that? Are you able to kind of go in and out of sounds very often from one song to the next?
I think what I do is sometimes if I have a group of 4 or 5 songs, maybe a song I wrote 3 or 4 years ago would go good with that group. So I do have songs that I kind of put back and go, well, maybe that's not right for this record, or I'm not feeling this right now. But then I can go back to it and go, oh, wow, that's a good song, and it goes good with these other songs. But
I'd always been afraid, like if I was a songwriter and everything, like Jakob Dylan would say he wouldn't write any songs before it was time to record the record, and then like the 2 weeks he'd be like, it's time to write songs, sit down and write songs, like, and then they all, I love Wallflowers, by the way, but they would all really sound the same, and it would seem like that's kind of what you would get into in that kind of position.
Oh, that's a good idea. I should try that. Yeah.
Don't write anything. Be grumpy pants.
Yeah,
and then go into the studio.
Yeah, exactly.
That's gonna be.
But I'm sure probably he finds too that he goes in and then they go, wow, none of these songs are very good. Maybe I should have took an old one that was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, that can happen. I you know, who knows. But you know, it's interesting when you look at all the Dylan bootlegs that are out there, and you know, a song that's on Blood on the Tracks was, you know, 4 years old, and you hear 3 or 4 different demos of it throughout the years. So he was kind of doing the same
That
thing.
guy
He's kind of for me, he's kind of the, you know, I mean, he is the singer-songwriter.
Sure. He's the top.
Yeah.
And he's still doing it.
Yeah, and he's still doing
He's
it.
still frustrating us and making us happy at the same time, like he always has. I love him.
Yeah.
Embers of Time is fantastic, and
Thank
I really,
you.
really appreciate you taking the time to talk.
Yeah.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah.
All right. Josh Rouse. All good, Mr. Camera.
Thanks. That was fun, man.
That was
I
fun.
enjoyed that.